And now the ladies say, welcome to the champagne life, where trouble is a bubble in a champagne glass.
I want to keep dancing. I've been waiting all day.
And we gonna do it like this.
Hi, Barbie. Welcome again to Champagne and Conversations, friend. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Girl, you know, anytime you are here, especially on our amazing holidays that I love so much, I have to have my girl on so you can share the do's and don'ts of how we can keep it so sexy on the holidays. Not make glutinous potatoes and gelatinous messes and all of that wonderful stuff, right? How are you?
I'm good. I'm really
good. I'm so glad you were able to come on.
Me too. So I guess we're going to talk about our holiday that's coming up on Sunday, Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day for me because
what is that? I don't know.
Me and my gals.
Oh, yes. Listen, look, for you.
Yeah, me and my gals. We're gonna do Valentine's Day because some of these folks don't know how to behave, so we're not celebrating.
Do we need to go into that first?
No.
Let's go into it. Look, we got this. Let's go. We can talk about it.
Okay. Well, 2020 was not kind to me in relationships. It started off, it was like I had a little bloop moment where I thought I had somebody that was on the right page, and then he blew a $1.6 million restaurant deal. And so that ended because 2020 turned 21 and said, hold my beer. And I said, I think not. You're going to rehab.
Let me get the bottle. Lord, you didn't tell me. I need the bottle. We do not blow 1 point what million? No.
A whole 1.6.
You got to give me his number afterwards. We're going to have to talk him down. Like, what happened?
No.
What happened?
Just like last week, he decided that he wanted to go on social medias and have a whole big stink about it. And he omitted that whole ass part, just that whole part. He's just left that part out and just said the love of his life just refused to move to Florida and had people messaging me, then going to try to come back and say, oh, I was drunk posting.
Oh, no. They do that? That's what they do now? Drunk posting, y'all?
That's what we do at our age, at 43. At 43 years old, we're going to drunk post about
I don't think so. I think we intentionally do it with the help of.
And then lie. And she broke my heart because she wouldn't move to Florida, but now I found out that she moved to Florida.
Okay. Well, listen, that will definitely be a continued story because that is now going into our, I mean, can we start with love? I mean, there we go. He was like in love and ready to go. And Barbie, as she is, Chef Barbie, guys, Hell's Kitchen, as you may know her, All Stars. She is a friend to Champagne and Conversation. She is my friend, which we were just talking. I can't wait till we open back up because I want to have this real party kind of thing going on. But she is the one and only Chef Barbie. You can find her probably now on YouTube with the Hell's Kitchen reruns, if you will. And
there's a new season out, so
she is crazy.
It's today, Thursday. It's Thursday. There'll be a new episode. I'm not on this one, y'all, but there's a new episode on Thursday nights on Fox.
Yay.
At 8/7 Central, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. So check out the new squad. They're a little deep into the season. They haven't. It's probably midway through or so, but it's still kind of early on the early first half. So
not where you need to go in yet.
I'm not going in, not this season. No, I didn't surpass them. I'm an all-star. This is the new squad. Let's give them their chance.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, I am so in love with oysters, and I love oysters on a half shell. I love them with the horseradish and all of the little, all the great things that go along with it. And I'm talking raw oysters that they've already done the, breaking it. Yes. And so from there, I want to know, what are the best ones to get?
To be perfectly honest with you, oysters are all based on your taste. When you asked me this question, I told you Kumamoto's were one of my favorites. And I was specific. I said for raw eating, for oysters on a half shell, Kumamoto's are my favorite because they have this beautiful little shape. They're a very small oyster, and the cup of them, the way it just holds the liquor, the brine, they have this little pocket of briny, salty liquor that we
Deliciousness.
call it.
Yes.
That it just holds that, and you can just slurp that so easily based on that shell. And that particular flavor of oyster is, it has a melon flavor, so it's very fruity. It's got a nice brininess to it, so it's not too salty, but it's not undersalted. It has a nice size to it, because usually with oysters, with raw oysters, you don't chew. It's just one of those things that you put it in
Just
your mouth
put
and
it in your mouth.
you just let it go, and
Cheers.
you absorb all of those things. I like them with, you like with horseradish and probably a little bit of lemon. Some people like it with
A
cocktail
little
sauce.
dot of hot sauce and mix it all up
Some
and
people
just
like hot sauce. I
sizzle it
like
up.
mignonette sauce. So
What's
mignonette
that?
is a, it's a vinaigrette without the oil. So it's
Okay.
vinegar,
Yes.
shallots,
Hmm.
and black pepper. And it's a very, very, very simple drizzle that you
Yes.
can put on top, but it complements those raw oysters so very well.
I cannot wait to have a champagne and oyster just event. I am so ready to get back outside and just, whew, we got to do it. We have to do it. That's going to be our opening. So
So
we're back.
with oysters, there is a difference between an oyster being opened and an oyster being shucked. If your oyster is properly shucked, you're not going to find any dirt because they've been scrubbed, no sand. You're not going to find any shards of the shell because the person
Okay.
who has opened those oysters has taken their time. It won't be gritty. It will be a pleasurable experience if you like oysters. If it's just open, that oyster might still be stuck on the shell on one side. So you
Not
have
going
to
to do
be
those.
very careful of where you're eating raw oysters from. Make sure that they have a good reputation, because raw oysters are a hazardous food to eat on their own.
Right. Right.
They do come with a little bit of a disclaimer of eat at your own risk at certain points, because depending on where they're from, there can be bacteria in the water, and those oysters have to be cooked. There are some foodborne illnesses that can just happen naturally because of water temperatures. So when we get on to cooked oysters, then we can think about po' boys, oyster stew. You still want them on a half shell. You can do an oysters Rockefeller, which is cream
Right.
spinach and a little bacon on top, and you bake them. So, and oh, one of my favorite ways is steamed. There's this Asian seafood place that I go to in Philly called Ken Seafood, and they have these really huge oysters. I mean, the oyster shells are probably that big. So
Wow.
we're talking Kumamotos, which are this big, and an
Okay.
oyster shell that's that big. So inside the meat is probably that big. So you're definitely going to chew that, but they steam them open and they drizzle them with an either XO sauce or ginger scallion soy, and it is
Amazing, right? I'm
so
like so ready. Actually, I'm
so
gonna have some this weekend on the Valentine's Day. Yes, we're gonna maybe we'll Zoom again and we'll do them. But I usually like if I'm not out in an event, I would prefer for someone else to open them for me. So Raw Bar is where I would like to go,
Mhm.
but maybe one of the nice seafood places will do those for me, open the few up and have them. Now, the ones that I enjoy, which is why I asked you, was the Rappahannocks. And for one, because I'm a little biased, they are in Virginia.
Mhm.
So that is great. And they're the legendary ones, which of course I love that whole word. So the Rappahannocks, and they're big, just like you said. So I do like it. It has a salty flavor to it. So then that makes it nice. And from what I understand, because we're Atlantic on this side, we tend to have a little bit more of the saltier waters than like the West Coast.
Mhm.
And the Kumamoto is the West Coast favorite.
Yeah.
And so with us, we have Rappahannock's and the Blue Point, which is typically what restaurants have, is Blue Point. And that's well known, even more in the South. But getting back to what you stated about the bacteria, I know that before they used to say the myth was to put it into the, well, you had to have it in the months, anything that ended in because it was a colder water.
Mhm.
I see now they're saying that's not as much of a necessary part to consider because, obviously, the regulations are different in this point. But one thing that they did mention, like New Orleans, um,
Their oysters are a little bit bigger and muddier. They have a lot of mud to them. They're a lot bigger and sweeter. They have a
yeah,
very sweet oyster, which is why you find them fried and in po' boys and things like that.
yeah,
So pay attention to how the locals are preparing their oysters and
sure,
which season, and that'll tell you what the safest way is to eat them. So if you go
yeah,
into a seafood restaurant and it's local and you're in Louisiana and their special is fried oysters,
yeah.
it's time to eat them hot.
Yeah, yeah, you best. Yeah. And I won't go into any of that part, but yes, you do want to be safe about them. But I love, love, love them. It's all about maintaining the sexy, right? And
Mm.
of course, in Valentine's Day, we're not going to wait for it. We're just going to continue to have it. So I just thought that having the conversation with you in brief about the oysters would be amazing in case anyone wanted to try something new. And they're not too expensive, right? You can get like a half a dozen and not too expensive.
It depends on where you are because and what kind of oysters you're going for. They
Okay.
could be a little bit more expensive because an oyster is considered an aphrodisiac, and Valentine's Day only comes
I
at once.
wasn't going to say that, but thank you.
But oysters are considered in that aphrodisiac line
Yeah.
of food. So the price of them may go up because of that. Why is it an aphrodisiac?
Because we're
Maybe
quarantined.
it's the shape, maybe it's the appearance of it. I don't know, but it is.
It is.
They say
So,
it is.
yes. So you can enjoy those in case you want. That would be your appetizer. How about that?
Yes, it could be your
Appetizer.
appetizer. That could
And if not, you just enjoy them anyway. It's just something that we love. We wanted to just kind of give you guys some options, some different options. We traditionally do the same kind of starters. So I just thought oysters on a half shell may be something amazing to talk about. So I won't take away from your presentation. I know you wanted to share a cocktail with us and you wanted to share some quick ideas in terms of Galentine's or Valentine's. If you are blessed and fortunate to have a loved one, you can do that. You
so
can have an amazing meal.
I always say that one of my favorite meals to cook for another person, and it's quick and easy, and it just seems so much more delicate than it is cacio e pepe. And cacio e pepe
What?
literally translates to cheese and pepper.
Oh, I'm like, what
So
are you saying? Say it again.
cacio e pepe.
Okay.
So you just want to go out and get yourself some dry
Sounds good.
pasta, some noodles, some
Okay.
spaghetti, um, and some. You can either get Parmesan or Locatelli or Pecorino Romano or a combination of the both, but you want to get it nice and grated. Cook your pasta in salted water, and then take a little bit of that pasta cooking water and put it in a saute pan with a little bit of butter and some freshly cracked black pepper. Finish your pasta in that pan with that water and add that cheese. And it is it just seems like you did so much more work than you actually did.
Okay, so run the cheese back because we're going to have to do a translation and then a simple version. So let's run the culinary version back.
All right, so Parmigiano Reggiano
Okay.
and Pecorino Romano. And I'm not
Okay.
talking about the stuff that you find in the jar and with the green label that shakes. We're not talking about that. If you find it in the aisle, that's not it. You want to go to the deli section,
Leave it
the
to
deli section, and you know those fancy cheeses a little bit. They ain't really that fancy, but the fancy cheeses in the
they
deli.
look good.
You're gonna
It's
look for one in the
presentation.
little pint container, and you'll find the grated Parmesan, and you'll find the Pecorino Romano. If you can't find Pecorino Romano, then you might find it labeled under Locatelli, and that's the same cheese. I personally like to just use Locatelli, but you can use both. And sometimes the cheese might clump up a little bit. Don't worry about that. It's just cheese. All right. So just sprinkle the cheese to your taste until it makes a nice creamy sauce. Twirl it around. You know that meat fork you have? Just twirl your noodles around it, stand them up on a plate, let them fall, and bon appetit. Maybe give it a little bit more fresh cracked pepper. Don't use that stuff that you shake. The peppermint, get the peppermint babies. Like everybody should have.
Splurge. It's Valentine's splurge.
Valentine's Day. Even if you have to go get the McCormick's peppermint that you can't refill, you go ahead on and don't go back to the shake stuff. Just keep getting the one that until you can.
The shake that you pop up the little top and it's got the 3 options. You can't use that.
Let's not do that no more. Let's in 2021. Let's just get rid of anything, any pepper in a can. Not paprika. Paprika can come in a can.
I'm trying with you. We're keeping it sexy in 2021. We're maintaining the sexy, right?
We are.
So with that being said,
that finely ground pepper that comes in the lid or coarse or already ground, that stuff is stale.
Yeah, that's what we got to keep
using so much. It might be a little less stale than some of the others, but it's never going to be as fresh as the peppercorn that you just ground yourself.
Now, are you doing the tri-peppercorn or are you just doing the actual?
Well, see, I have my own little special blend of peppercorn. The translation for the dish is cheese and pepper. You can use whatever pepper you like.
Okay, so you can.
I use my own little special blend because I have a nice relationship with pepper. And sometimes people say, "Well, what did you put in this?" And I'm like, "Salt and pepper." And they're like, "No, but I taste it." And I'm like, "Salt and pepper."
Salt and pepper.
No, I know a lot of times people say, "Oh, there are just salt and pepper chefs out there." I can be a salt and pepper chef.
Oh, we know a few. Yes.
Still ask me, "Well, what did you put in that?" And it's still only salt and pepper. It's just my blend of pepper.
Now, with the salt, just taking it to a different note, are you using iodized salt in the blue can that you just pop up the top?
No, we're not. So that iodized salt, let me tell you, you need to use iodized salt.
You need to run that back.
If you're allergic to fish and shellfish, you need to use iodized salt. The purpose of iodized salt came because people were not getting enough iodine in their diets when people who didn't live by the sea didn't have access to seafood. So in order to not get gout, if you don't eat seafood and shellfish, you go ahead on and you get yourself that box of iodized salt. Anybody else, you go ahead and get you a box of either table salt, kosher salt, sea salt. But that iodized stuff, it does impart a flavor. It does have a metallic flavor. And if you don't want that taste in your dish and you don't need it because you eat fish, just step away from the iodized salt, please. No more of that.
No more of that.
Let's be done with that. There's no need for that. We generally have a well-balanced diet now because we can get seafood from all over the world, all different places. And so since we are eating, we get your iodine from the oysters.
Yeah, yes, that's it.
From the shrimp and the catfish. Well, catfish is freshwater fish. So let's go with
I'm not a catfish fan.
I'm not either at all times because it tastes very muddy.
Yeah.
I'm also not a tilapia fan because it has that same muddy flavor.
I am if I'm making like fish tacos because I can, do other things with it, put the cumin, put the other flavors to it, and you can kind of get over it. But it's different. It's a different fish taste, I think. But yeah, catfish. I mean, I grew up on catfish, but most would say, I guess, in this day and time, it's considered a bottom feeder. So most don't eat that if you're, maintaining a certain diet, right?
It is. I mean, flounder is also a bottom feeder. There are just certain kind of fish that just.
But that's what we grew up on. So now you've said something different. Flounder, and what's the other one? Whiting. Oh my goodness, my father.
Whiting is not a bottom feeder, actually. And that's what I can't even say that I really grew up on whiting, but most of the time in the north, when you get fried fish, it's whiting.
Okay. Right? All right.
So like that's what everybody's gonna have home on Sunday is like fried whiting.
Okay. So yeah, well,
flounder. But down in the south where I've been, I went to look for some whiting and it was like catfish.
Catfish, yes. Flounder. Flounder if you bougie.
But barely flounder, to tell you the truth, because flounder really, we find that mostly in the north.
Okay.
That's like flounder and skate ring. Skate ring is one of my favorite. Oh my
What
goodness.
is it? I haven't heard of it.
Skate. Oh, skate is it's shaped just like a flounder, but it has such a different texture and just mild flavor. It's
Yeah, I'm
one
not
of my
familiar with that
favorite
one.
dishes. That's also a good for like a Valentine's Day dinner because especially if you're gonna have fish, it's so mild.
But now
Like
you can't fry fish on Valentine's. So how are we going to prepare it if we're going to have
you
fish?
could saute it. I mean, that's what
Okay.
I'm talking about for the skate wing. Like you could that's the kind of like a halibut or
Yes.
sea
Yes.
bass. That's the kind of fish I think you would want to go with on Valentine's Day and stay away from like the heavier fish like salmon because that flavor is gonna come like, on through with you. Um, yeah. And maybe
Don't do it.
stay away from the garlic and the onions. I mean,
We should have started with that. What you do not eat
okay,
on Valentine's.
tuna fish,
Go for it.
tuna fish.
No, we're not making tuna fish on
But
Valentine's.
I mean, you know how sometimes we be running around, we call ourselves getting a little snack or
No.
something. I like tuna fish. I will eat some tuna fish and crackers, but
On a regular day.
on a
On a
regular,
regular day, but
but
not this day.
even on a regular day, the tuna fish and crackers route is not the route you want to take before you go making out with somebody. I'm just saying.
She said it. I did.
The Doritos, you want to stay away from anything with the like the fake cheese because when you get the heavy breathing and stuff, it's gonna come right up on out you. Like and you know it the smells.
So tell us what else? Onions, garlic. What else are we staying away from? Now that we've added a new segment to this whole, we were just
I would
doing dinner, but
say
now leave it to Barbie.
I mean I'm single, so I'm eat whatever I want on Valentine's Day. And if I wasn't single, I would still eat whatever I wanted anyway.
I was gonna say I'm single, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna enjoy what I have. I mean,
I
it's
really
going to be 3 courses and amazing.
But
And
I know a lot of people that are like, no, I want to just make sure my breath is tight. And they will pretty much not really eat a lot of stuff. Like, I want chocolate covered strawberries, and I'm not
oh,
worried about them seeds getting in
sugar
my
chef,
food,
yes, yes.
right? I'm not
And I
worried
have
about
them in the glass. You see, they're in the
that.
champagne glass, so
I'm
it's
not even worried
necessary.
about the little strawberry seeds. You better go get you a water pick. Just go ahead on and get a water pick
Yes.
and tighten everything
Some
on.
things are
Yeah.
necessary. You gotta have. Yes.
Like, oh, I have a guest. I'm sorry. Hi, baby. So
That's a
that's
big
my
guess.
Valentine's Day. Can
I
you're
see.
supposed to be upstairs.
That's a big
It is-
guess.
no, sorry, y'all. Okay. So he was supposed to be under lock and key because I knew he was gonna be like, oh hey, y'all.
And there he is. He made his debut.
He made his
Welcome. Welcome to Champagne and Conversations.
welcome, Ollie. So so
So
then, I would go with maybe some candied ginger. Those are nice things like to keep your breath fresh and sweet and a little spicy too at the same time.
now I would have dropped that in the drink. What were you having? What kind of cocktail?
Oh, this one? This is just a little concoction that I made with a little
What's
bit
in the
hold on. Let me check my recipes here so I can give it to you properly and just say it that way. Um, Anybody that wants to look, when we type it all up this time, we can give it out properly.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I have one for you too called Love and Bloom.
What is it called?
Called Love and Bloom. It's not my drink. So what you want to do is you want to take your champagne,
Yes.
find yourself some hibiscus syrup,
Okay.
and just give it a little bit of hibiscus syrup. And if you can find a hibiscus flower, drop it in your glass first.
Okay.
Love and Bloom.
Love and bloom. Okay. So if you don't have hibiscus, can you use mango habanero?
Syrup? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
You
Yes.
could use that. You could. You could.
Have mango habanero, or you can use hibiscus. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I've gotten like this new love for mezcal, and I'm so addicted to it. If I'm not with champagne, I gotta do my tequila. So with that, I do the mango habanero, and then a little splash of ginger, and then a little splash of lime in my mezcal. What would that be called? Spicy?
That is a little spicy.
Fire? The glow. That's what I'm going to call it. The glow. My new cocktail. Mango habanero, ginger, and a splash of lime juice and tequila. And then you can do Barbie, which is the Valentine special, which is the hibiscus, but she's got to have you go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, of course. Where do you buy hibiscus juice?
Usually I will just make a simple syrup and get some hibiscus flowers from either Amazon or sometimes I find them in the Asian market.
Okay.
And steep it like a tea.
Oh, see, you're doing extra steps. Okay, you got to share it.
Just go ahead on and find it. But sometimes, you know what? I'm trying to tell you I don't even want to really tell the secret, but I am. Sometimes if you're looking for like syrups and bubbles and things like that, you got to go check out that home section in your Ross and the Marshalls and the tea mix.
Yeah, that's a good activity on Saturday.
You can find like nice little things to try in there. So
I like it.
How about I tell you about this drink?
Yes.
You want to get yourself a ginger beer, some rum, and some lime juice. So 2 ounces of rum, 3 ounces of ginger beer, and 3 ounces of ginger ale. Squeeze a lime, and it's the perfect dark and stormy.
Okay. Now, if you do not like rum, you can substitute with what? Tequila for sure. That's always going to be number one for me. But you could probably use vodka.
You could use vodka. Yeah, as far as vodka goes, vodka is the number one drink of you can put it in anything because it doesn't really impart any flavor. So it'll just be more ginger. Rum has a little bit more spice to it.
Yeah.
And sweetness. So you could definitely use vodka in place of rum because rum comes from sugarcane, but vodka comes, from potatoes.
I don't think I've had rum and enjoyed it like since the 90s. I was sharing with another young lady that's she's doing my events for the cigar line, the Glow cigar line, and we were out and we were talking about different cocktails and such, and I said I don't think that I've had certain things, especially white, in a long time because I've been drinking bourbon, and then of course I'll switch to champagne, but when I want to have a nice cocktail, then I'll switch back to tequila, of course.
I think that maybe you have to go to the Caribbean and do some rum tasting through the islands, and that'll completely change your opinion on
rum. Yeah, I haven't had rum since the 90s, but it's just not one of my favorites.
Rum is not clear in the Caribbean, not all of it. It starts off clear, but once you get into aging, it gets brown. So you
like rum.
I'm not talking about the dark rum now. Dark rum is something completely different because that's dark and spiced. I'm talking rum. It gets brown. So I know in my memories right now, memories of me going to St. Lucia 4 years ago came up, and there at the resort that I stayed on, they had a rum cave, and you could see the different agings of the rum. But when I was on my way, because the resort that I stayed at was quite a distance from the airport, and so they sent a car to pick me up from the airport to take me to the resort. And it was like an hour ride. And along the way, and I happened to fly in on like a Friday, which if you fly into any Caribbean island on a Friday, first off, it's fish. It's a Friday. It's fish.
Oh man, I can only imagine.
So I'm in this car and we're passing through all these little towns and villages, and I just see all these people cooking until I was like, enough.
Yes.
This on the road, and the driver was like, "You want me to stop?" And I was like, "Yeah." Do you know any place that we can stop? And he was like, "No, really, you want me to stop for local food?" And I was like, "And if they have booze, that'll be good too." And he was like, "You want me to pull this car over so you can eat local food and drink local
Like, do you know who I am?
And I was like, yes, yes, I would. Yes, I very much would.
Yeah.
So we pulled over to this little roadside stand, and there was a man with like one of those oil drum barbecues with the best pork that I have ever had. I know you don't eat pork, but it
Here
was.
we go with the pork. We were
And
trying
then I
to
sat
that, but
up at the bar, and the bartendress came, and she said, "Well, what would you like to drink?" And I said, "Well, what do you have here? What comes from here?" And she was like, "Everybody here has rum." And I said, "Well, I'll take a rum." And she was like, "Okay. And how will you have it?" And I was like, "Oh, just the rum." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "You don't want a chaser?" And I was like, "Why would I? It's your rum, right? It's from here. Y'all make it." And she was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Well, why would I taint the flavor of the rum with something like a soda? No, I want to taste the rum." And she was like, "Okay." And so when, it was delicious, it was smooth, it was so flavorful, it was sweet and caramel notes. And so I, went on my
gotta
way, ate
appreciate the
away,
chef in that.
and I didn't realize the magnitude of what I had done until like I was on this resort, and it seemed like everyone that spoke to me they just knew who I was. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this resort has the best customer service ever. Like, how does every single person here know who I am? Like, they really put out memos about their guests. But it wasn't until I was going home and I had to take that hour ride back to the airport that I got in the car, and the driver said, "Oh my God, it's you." It was like coming to America. Remember when I came to the bathroom?
It's coming back too. Yes, they
Okay.
have it too. Uh-huh.
When he went to the bathroom, he was like, "Oh my God, it's you." My driver was like, "Oh my God, it's you." And I
Oh
was like,
yeah, yeah,
"Wait,
yeah.
hold on." And so then it was on my way out of town that he told me what it was. No one had ever come to the island
Just
and
one.
asked to just try the local stuff.
Yes.
So everyone, all of the locals, all of the employees at the resort were like, "She's not here just to R&R. She's research and development, because she didn't even take a chaser with her rum." Like, and he ran it down to me, and I was like, I go to places to respect the culture. And when we
I
travel
love it.
and we do that, it is noticed. It is so noticed. And even though I didn't think that it was a big deal, they thought it was a big deal. And so
Yes,
when you go somewhere and they're making something, try it.
yes,
You will be so surprised. And that was some of the best rum. And coincidentally, nutmeg was grown on that island too. Some of the best nutmeg and mace that I have ever used.
so
So
when we open back up, where are you going first?
I haven't even gotten that far. I just know I want to go
I know,
somewhere
I
where,
know. Just want to open
and
up the passport, right?
I really, I kind of, I wouldn't mind going back there because it was mountains and beach, but all
Okay.
hot. And so it still had this level of seclusion, because even
Yes,
if everything opens back up,
that's right.
I still want to be by myself.
Yeah, yes.
I don't want to be around a group.
Now, just in saying it and being by yourself, we did hear a few shows ago, guys, that Barbie had COVID at an early time as we were going through
Almost
this
been a
whole
year.
thing. And how are you doing with that now?
So I am slowly. I mean, I think the last time we spoke, I told you that I lost my taste and smell in August. So I got some things back. Alliums, the onion family, garlic, onions, leeks, shallots. All members of that family came back, but at an altered taste. So
Okay.
I can't. I can. It was the only thing that I could taste for a little while. And when I tell you, there is so much onion powder and garlic powder hidden in things that I didn't even realize. But the flavor came back terribly. It tastes like rancid cumin. So I can't stand the taste of it, and almost to the point where this taste and smell of it, since it's the only thing I could taste and smell for a little while, it just made me nauseous, just completely and utterly nauseous. And to the point where it
Okay.
got to the point, if I tasted something and it was in there and I didn't know it, I would cry, just because to go that long without being able to taste anything and then get it back. And it was just like, oh my God, now I'm broken. Like first I was just broken, now it's broken. So then someone brought me an aromatherapy essential oil kit. And I
Okay.
already
What
had
was
an
it?
essential oil kit.
What was in it?
It's 18 different. I haven't even used it yet, but as soon as I opened it, I could smell, I think it was the frankincense. And I was like, okay, hold on, something's going on.
Okay.
So that one was aromatherapy, not food grade, even though it was essential oils, not food grade. I have my
Okay.
own essential oils that are food grade. Because I smelled that frankincense, I said, okay, let me revisit. I had been playing around with my body scrubs, which I do anyway. And I knew I couldn't smell lavender because I make a lavender body scrub. But when I got to
Okay.
cinnamon and tangerine, I could taste them and the differences in
Tangerine, the glow. Yes.
even veggie. So
Okay.
I have I have
The glow
citrus back.
brought back the sense.
I have
Like it.
citrus.
I
I
like
have
it.
citrus back. So I made some grits and I added a little bit of
Catfish.
lemon. I added a little bit. I flavored the grits, y'all. I made some flavored grits. I'm a salt in my grits, not sugar, but I made some smothered
Kosher.
chops. I made some smothered pork chops, and I could smell rosemary was the only other thing that I could
Okay.
smell. So I added a little drops of rosemary, and I made this entire meal without onions and garlic. And then I added a little bit of lemon to the grits, and everybody loved it here. And they just absolutely did, even
Oh,
though
great. I'm so glad that everything is coming back. So that we recap, frankincense was something you could start to smell as you were gaining your senses back.
no, this is the one that is not food grade that came. And when I
Okay.
opened this, the packaging was beautiful. When I opened this, I can smell one of these. I haven't
Okay.
figured out which one it is,
Okay.
but I truly, the only one that makes sense is the frankincense.
Okay.
Because that's the kind of smell that it smells like. It smells like would you imagine frankincense and myrrh and all of that to smell like? That's what it smells like to me. And so
And
I
that was in your diffuser. So you were inhaling the steam.
no, just in the box. Just what
Oh,
I
wow.
just opening this. I haven't put it in the diffuser yet because I'm
And
like,
it activated your senses.
it activated. Just open
Wow. What
this.
else is in the box?
Oh,
Nirvana.
okay. Let's see. It is Yang Lang. I don't know what that means. Cedarwood, cinnamon leaf, copaiba, tangerine, basil,
You know,
pepper,
I'm loving the tangerine. You all know I'm loving the
turmeric,
glow. I'm so
bergamot,
happy to smell.
bergamot, lemongrass, frankincense, tea tree, spearmint, eucalyptus, lavender, rosemary, lemon, and sweet orange.
And so what you're saying is the combination of those.
No, there's only one scent. I'm sure that there are more scents. I'm sure that this entire box smells like a combination of everything
Yeah.
in it, but I don't smell everything that's in it. I only
Okay.
smell maybe in the packaging something leaked a little bit, but the only thing that I smell, and I haven't opened them all up yet to see what they all smell like or don't. But I'm fairly certain the one thing that I do smell is frankincense in it.
Okay. All
So
right. All
but
right.
I also have another kit which is food grade, and that's the one that I did smell and taste.
And
So
that one it brought back, that's what you made your grits with.
yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so that's something, guys, as I said, she had the COVID. She had it back, what, summer, late?
I had it in February 2020. I lost
Okay.
my sense of taste and smell in August of 2020. And we're almost
After you had the COVID.
after I had it. It was
Okay.
a complication. And a lot of and everyone's complication is different. When I did have it, I did have altered taste for the 2 weeks that I was sick. My
Okay.
taste buds were altered. But then all of a sudden in August, they just poof, vanished, disappeared. And it was just like, oh no, do I have this again? No, I have a complication. And so then the more I started talking about it, the more other people came forward, and I wound up in groups on like Facebook for it's called anosmia,
Okay.
when you lose your sense of smell. And then chemocesis is when capsaicin affects you. So I dealt with that too, like hot sauce, like how I deal with spicy is not the same as I used to be able to. And then there's
Okay.
Pasomia, which is when you smell things, but they don't smell quite right. They're altered. So that's instead of the sweet or pungent normal smell of onions and garlic and shallots and those things, I get rancid cumin, which is really like bothering me because I always loved cumin before
Yes,
that.
I love cumin.
It's
Hmm.
one of my favorite spices, but I can't even, it's a no. Like
Yeah.
just the idea of it is just like, oh, please don't have garlic or onion or anything in it
Oh,
because
that
everything
breaks
pretty
you
much
down.
tastes like air and water besides that, except for now lemon and orange. So
Orange, yay. So
yeah.
now will you be getting the shot?
So my concern with the shot is no. I'm gonna let the
You're
first
not
batch
getting
of
it?
people, I'm gonna let the first batch of people go through and see what
Okay.
happens. So, like my youngest daughter is pregnant right now, so she can't take the shot.
Oh, congratulations,
Thank
Grandma.
and I'm not worried about, I don't have to worry about her.
Hmm.
But I do worry, like, what are the repercussions of the vaccine? Because we don't know. This happens so quickly. We don't know what the side effects are. And we know that the pharmaceuticals, they are in the business for creating band-aids, not cures. Like they treat diseases,
Mm,
not cure them, because we would have
that's the
cures.
money. Right.
We not treatments. So what are we often, if we sit and watch TV and commercials, did you take this drug? That's possible side effects are blah, 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 blah.
Right.
We have not had enough time nor testing to know what any kind of possible side effects are. And I am a little bit discouraged by the way that I was handled just at the beginning of this, because when I went to the hospital in February, I didn't know what I
Yeah.
had,
And
but
you
I knew
said it
I
was too early. They didn't know what to
and
even
they
do
didn't
for
know.
you. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so throughout this whole process, it's been, well, we don't know. And
Yeah.
so when I lost my sense of taste and smell, it was, we don't know if it'll come back. We don't know why this is happening. Well, when I first went to the hospital, it was, you can't have the flu and COVID at the same time. A month later, they were like, we were wrong about that. So I'm just getting back some of my senses, altered or not. But it's taken a lot of time to get to this point. I'm not fitting to let them shoot me with that shit again, so I can lose it
But
again.
now, do you feel like since you've had COVID already that you're immune to it, or can you
No,
get it again?
no,
Okay.
I absolutely, because I know someone that has tested positive 3 times,
Oh
and
no.
so I personally know someone that has tested positive 3 times. Have not been around that person. She's a first responder, so at first there was, oh well, once you get it, you can't get it again. But we knew that way, way, way back, that people in China, when it first happened out, there were stories that people had contracted it again.
Sure.
So by the time we got around to admitting that it was a problem here, we already knew that you could get it twice. So to run that risk right now is just more than I can stressfully manage. I can manage to wear my mask, keep my hands washed, keep social distance, stay away from people and keep people away from me. I can manage to do that.
Yeah.
I can't manage side effects that I don't know exist, that
Yeah.
we don't know exist.
And
I
that's what we're supposed to do, is to do the things that we know, which is all that you listed. And that's first step, obviously, in
I'm
main.
not saying that I'm against anyone that wants to try that out for themselves. You go ahead and do that. Like for me, I have also not done well with immunizations, and they say that this one doesn't have egg, which is why I don't do well with immunizations, because I'm allergic to eggs, and most of the time it's suspended in it. This one does not have an egg allergy. However, people do have reactions to it. I'm going to wait and see what the potential side effects are before I go ahead on through with this, because right now, I mean, I'm more concerned with the chicken pox that I have never had and have never had a vaccine for than I am for COVID-19
how did you get through school with not a chickenpox
because I'm
vaccination?
allergic to it.
Oh, really? What's in chickenpox vaccination that you couldn't have?
Eggs.
I mean, I'm semi partial to that as well. Like I can't do it. I don't think that I have an allergy to egg, but I
No,
mean, I
I have
was just
an
kind of
allergy.
thinking that most folks that have had to have all of the immunizations to get through school, this is now going to be one on the list added for especially the babies. You got to get the COVID vaccination with, measles,
They're not
mumps.
even giving babies COVID
But
vaccination.
I'm saying going forward, like as we were growing up in school and you had to check the box, do they have everything?
If you have an
We
allergy,
now
no, you don't.
require.
You don't. You don't. I have never had in my entire life a flu vaccine.
Now, I have not. I have not had a flu vaccination either, which is why I'm kind of still on the fence about the COVID one. But if it becomes necessary, then I guess it's just like doing chicken pox and all of that great stuff. I mean, not great, but just,
Well, I
all the
mean,
things that
if
we
we
had
think
to have.
about it along those lines, influenza was a pandemic over 100 years ago. And the reason for the vaccination is because of that pandemic. COVID-19 is doing what it did, doing what the flu did. It's doing what the bubonic plague did. It's doing what the Black Plague did. This is what happens with pandemics. Will it be a mandatory vaccination? Maybe one day. Will that day
Yeah.
be anytime soon? Probably not, because they probably will take about 10 years to figure out, if the baby's going to be born with eyeballs in place of ears.
Why do we start with her, guys? She's had a little sip of rum and we
I'm,
just want everybody to be healthy so we can open back
I'm
up and
ready.
we can have our events. We just need to get back out there, right?
Can we just act like the United States doesn't have a history of, like,
Okay.
experimenting on people?
Well, we're gonna move on and say happy Valentine's Day, happy Galentine's Day. And ladies and gentlemen, I will let you know that my production team, little baby Jodeci on Instagram, if you follow him, thank you so much. He was actually sending me a message to let me know that at a moment we were out in terms of audio on Instagram. So you guys can go to Champagne and Conversations on YouTube and check out the full story, because we were sharing the amazing half shell oysters on the half shell. We were having our conversation about great meals that you can have for Valentine's Day. And I don't want you guys to miss any of it if you did on the Instagram. So Champagne and Conversations, you can subscribe and listen to everything on YouTube. We have Chef Barbie here today, as she is our friend to the show, and always such a pleasure to talk to her. She's definitely the life of the party, whether we're quarantined or not. She is here to give us everything you want to know in the kitchen and otherwise. I cannot wait to have an event where we can have you live and they can see you in living color and all that you do and all of your amazingness, your fun, and your great recipes. So we talked about cocktails. We have a pasta dish. We also did our oysters on the half shell, which is our, what is it? Our aphrodisiac.
Our appetizer.
Oh, that's right. Our appetizer.
Our appetizer.
On Galentine's.
On Galentine's or Valentine's, whatever you're celebrating.
Yes. Next year it will be Valentine's.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
This right now, I'm okay with the Galentine's. We're gonna have a good time. Maybe we'll Zoom it. We'll call our girl, do a little salsa, mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. How about it?
All right. Next year.
Champagne and Conversations, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Chef Barbie. Cheers.